they'd still have to beat England. England, I think, in the history of the 50-over World Cup, it has never happened that the defending champions won only one game. So far, that's been the case. England has won only one game.
After Pakistan edged New Zealand in a highly dramatic game yesterday, now the race for the fourth spot is become really interesting. To discuss about all the scenarios, what could happen in the upcoming future of this World Cup, we have with us none other than former India cricketer and opener Aakash Chopra joining us on India.com right now. So Aakash, the three teams that are more or less there into the semi-final are India, South Africa and Australia. Now there's a toss-up for the fourth spot. There are four contenders, but realistically looking at things, there are two contenders. One is New Zealand, one is Pakistan. After Pakistan got the better of New Zealand yesterday, now things have changed. Pakistan, they are still in it. And trust Pakistan, they can do the unthinkable. Now New Zealand take on Sri Lanka in Chinnaswamy on the 9th. There are high possibilities of rain. And if rain plays spoil sport over there, then Pakistan just have to beat England to go through. So how do you look at this scenario playing up right now? And what do you think, what is your prediction, what could actually happen eventually?
I mean, you've explained it very nicely, actually, how the table is looking right now and what are the permutations, combinations. So if it were to rain actually for that New Zealand-Sri Lanka game, then New Zealand will feel really hard done by. They've had a good tournament, then got onto a little bit of a losing streak, but then rain played spoil sport against Pakistan. If rain were to decide, then I mean, what can they do? Pakistan, of course, are in with a real chance, which we thought weren't possible till a week ago. But then they still have to beat England. England, I think, in the history of the 50-over World Cup, it has never happened that the defending champions won only one game. So far, that's been the case. England has won only one game. Will they actually go back home with just 2 points and one game, one victory? I mean, that will be very disappointing, but it looks likely. Because whatever they've been trying to do, it hasn't really worked out well for them. So, yes, Pakistan are definitely in with a real shout.
What has really worked for Pakistan in the last 3 or 4 games that they are on this winning streak? Is it purely Fakhar Zaman, his entry into the side?
Oh, well, yes, they won 2 actually, because they won the first 2 games against Sri Lanka and Netherlands, easier one, and they were also on a losing spree. They lost to India and then they lost the next 2 as well. So there was one game where Fakhar came to his own, hit a lot of sixes, and then that game was in Kolkata, and then scored another scintillating century. So yes, he has been that game changer, the difference maker. But the bowling is still struggling. So that is one thing that, if not now, then in the future, Pakistan will have to address, because the bowling has conceded over 350 runs quite a few times in this tournament.
Aakash, last time we spoke, I remember New Zealand, they had already won 4 games. India was playing Bangladesh, and India was also about to win that game. So both the teams were unbeatable at that point of time, but things have changed ever since. New Zealand, do you think they have peaked a little too early in this tournament?
See, they were also fortunate to get the right fixtures to begin with. Yes, the first game was a big one against England, but little did anybody know at that time that England are going to have this kind of a tournament. So, of course, they were, at that point in time, it looked like a big win, but now it looks like, okay, that's one team that everybody else has also defeated. So who cares? Not a big deal. But they lost to India. Then they lost a close game to Australia. Then they lost another one thanks to the Duckworth-Lewis system. So things have actually, and they actually got absolutely hammered by South Africa. They've been marred by injuries as well. Kane Williamson scores runs, then gets injured. You've got Lockie Ferguson, gets injured. He was bowling well, bowling absolutely rockets, and then he gets injured. You got Matt Henry, who was bowling well, and then he gets injured, and his World Cup is ruled out of the World Cup completely. So they've had a fair share of misfortune also. But then that's one team that will not actually talk about it. They will still go out and give their best, like they did in the previous game, and they would want to cross this final hurdle, because yes, if Pakistan needs only a win, I mean New Zealand also just needs a win. So if they win, then Pakistan has a mountain to climb because their net run rate is still behind or rather below New Zealand. So yeah, Kiwis they're a good team. They tend to punch above their weight. Very often they reach the semi-finals. Will it be very different this time? We shall find out.
What is your hunch? One prediction. Who's going to go through? Who's going to become the fourth team to, make it through?
See, my pre-tournament favorites, absolute pre-tournament, I had Pakistan in the top four. And then Pakistan played like Pakistan. And then I had to shoo them away. They're not going to actually be there.
But trust Pakistan, they're back in it.
I mean, they are, yes, they are back in it. But then trust Pakistan to now blow it up as well. We don't know what we expect. So we don't know. And with the rain, of course, nobody knows. So if Sri Lanka were to play a full game against New Zealand, then New Zealand will win and New Zealand will go through that. But if there is rain there, then expect Pakistan to beat England for sure.
You see, England, they came into this tournament as hot favorites. They have been doing really good in white ball cricket. But in this tournament, something has really gone awry for them and they have been on a losing spree. Now they are fighting for the royal number 10 spot with Bangladesh. That's where things have stooped down to. They are also probably, they might not make it to they might not directly qualify for the Champions Trophy. How big a setback is this for a white ball team which has been doing really well, up until now for the past 3 or 4 seasons? What kind of a setback is this? How will this hurt them?
Oh, it is a serious setback actually, because sometimes when you have these kind of setbacks, they lead to radical changes. They lead to heads getting rolled over and all of that. Those things happen. I think 2015 was the watershed moment when they decided to really change the brand of cricket. 2023 could be that other landmark moment where they say, okay, we are done with a set of players and we need to now start looking elsewhere, because getting Stokes out of retirement for a World Cup, that just does not augur that well. That what were you doing for the last 4 years? Are you not good enough? So you start rebuilding and rebooting. So that's what I'm expecting from England now.
Class of 2019, class of 23. What's the big difference? England.
Well, they are exactly the same. That's perhaps the difference, because sometimes you need to actually change a little and move with the times. They haven't played enough. They don't play ODI cricket, and I don't think they actually prepared very well for this this World Cup, because I think the leading up to this World Cup for the 2 years prior, they had, I think, they just played 3 ODI games in the subcontinent, while every other team was actually just coming, and they were making a beeline for having some games in the subcontinent to prepare, so much so that Australia played in September. Because you want to just get familiar with the conditions. England had no such plans, and it seems that they missed a trick.
Of course, they did miss a trick. It's also very disappointing to see England fare in this fashion. I would like to now talk about the other teams in the competition, Akash. Netherlands, they have put up some real good performances in this tournament. Afghanistan as well. I want you to name a few players who have really impressed you a lot, caught your eye in this tournament from these teams, like the Netherlands, maybe a Bangladesh also maybe an Afghanistan.
Well, Bangladesh, Mahmudullah Riyad has done very well. So he's someone, but then again, where he bats is something that they still haven't figured out. And Mahmudullah Riyad is also not a spring chicken. He's been around for a while. He's been Bangladesh's captain as well. Rachin Ravindra from New Zealand has been outstanding. I really like the way he's actually played the most impressive youngster, I think. Then we are looking at, say, Netherlands. There are quite a few. You've got Van Beek, who's done very, very, very well. Then Engelbrecht has played some very important knocks. Aryan Dutt, somebody from the Indian origin, who's actually bowled really well and played a couple of good knocks as well. So he's done well. So there are of course people who've caught everyone's attention, not just mine. And these were just a few of them.
Afghanistan, a few names from Afghanistan.
Afghanistan, I mean, there are plenty, to be fair.
What is working for Afghanistan? Because nowadays you see they are winning matches convincingly. It's not that they have to actually struggle, and there's a template they have got. They pick wickets in the middle overs and they knock off the runs, whatever is required. So what is working for them?
Because, these conditions actually they are ideally suited for their brand of cricket as well, because These are not pace-friendly conditions. They are a pacer shot, but who cares, because they don't really need so many of them. They end up playing as many as 4 spinners, the only team to do so. And then against pacers on a pitches like what we are getting in India, the batter are also fairly well equipped. So whether it's Rahmat Shah, who's played quite a few good innings, Hashmatullah Shahidi, who was below par leading up to the World Cup, but he's done really well. Then Noor Ahmed, the couple of games that he's played, he's been very good. There was one game where Fazal Farooqi actually ended up picking 4 wickets. So it's been a team game, because if you see, Rashid Khan hasn't picked up a lot of wickets, but he's not been missed either. He's been economical, and that's been good enough for Afghanistan to win games, and they've started winning while chasing also. So Afghanistan, they've done really well.
Let's now talk about the Indian team, the home team, which are taking on South Africa right now. Let's talk about the Indian team. Well, Hardik Pandya has been ruled out. How big a setback is this, or do you think India is well settled now? They have now figured out this is our best 11. Even without Hardik Pandya, we are here to win matches. How big a setback is it? Will there be a vacuum now? Or do you think we are well covered?
Well, there is, of course. If there is no Hardik Pandya, you don't have a sixth bowler.
Exactly.
So if you don't have, you don't have. I mean, if he will be missed, but then India has not lost a single game since they lost Hardik Pandya as well. In fact, they've not lost a single game any which way. So they've started changing the template of how they want to play cricket in this World Cup. They started playing 3 fast bowlers. All of them have done very well. So some might actually argue it's a blessing in disguise that now you're able to play the 3 fast bowlers that you were reluctant of in the first half of the tournament. So that way, I mean, Hardik is one of a kind cricketer in India for sure. Somebody who's a pace bowling all-rounder. Now that he's not there, I mean, there's nothing that Indian team can do, and hopefully whatever has worked in his absence continues to be the same way for the next 4 or 5 games. That's all we need. We don't really need to play 9 games from here.
Aakash, I know you are very active on social media. The people are calling this Indian pace trio the greatest of all time. Do you agree with them? Do you think this is the best 3 fast bowlers to be playing in an Indian ODI team in the 11 ever?
I think it's very close to that. The whole package is, I think, the best bowling attack that India has fielded in a World Cup. Because you got Kuldeep as a left-arm spinner, the best wrist spinner, best spinner in wide ball cricket right now, one-day cricket right now. So he's there. You've got Ravindra Jadeja, who's very economical. These conditions, he's brilliant. Then you've got the 3 fast bowlers. So when you look at the package, I think this is the best bowling attack that India has fielded in a World Cup event for sure.
What is working for Mohammad Shami?
Well, it's been working for the last 2 editions now. He's played 14 World Cup games and he's picked up 45 wickets. So whatever has worked earlier is exactly the same thing that's working right now.
Do you see any difference between Shiraj and Shami? The kind of bowlers they are, fast bowlers, in their approach, maybe the mindset?
No, but they are different. I mean, you've got 5 fingers in your hand and they're not same. So how do you expect bowlers, players to be identical? They are different bowlers who bowl the different way. One guy uses that scrambled seam to good effect, bowls really well to the left-handers. Shami's seam bolt upright, he operates differently. I mean, that different bowlers. Why compare the two is my question.
Exactly, why compare the two? What is your prediction? One last prediction and then I think it's time we wrap up.
Prediction for?
Who do you think will play India in the semi-final?
Oh gosh, okay. The team that finishes 4th.
Of course.
I mean, India will finish first.
Without a doubt. What's your hunch? Who's the team it's going to be? Is it going to be Pakistan? There's a realistic chance Pakistan plays India.
We've tried to address this earlier as well, that there are so many permutation combinations. I've got no hunch, very honestly. I don't care. I just want to, whoever comes in, we should beat them and play the finals. That's all I want. If it is in Mumbai, it's easier for me to actually go and attend the game or send my family. If it's in Kolkata, then it'll be a little difficult. So yeah, I prefer Mumbai over Kolkata.
So there you heard it from Aakash Chopra. He gave us an insight as to who he thinks could actually become the 4th team to qualify, with India and New Zealand and with India, Australia and South Africa almost there in the semis. Thank you so much for joining me in this session on India.com. Aakash, like always, it's a privilege to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.